Take a last look at this big empty box, as this is going to change. Last time we got this perimeter right down to bedrock, and that is the new 1.18 bedrock, and today I want to make this area look awesome. Or at least make a start anyway. Unfortunately, there was also a disaster in the last episode and I lost all of my items. So the first job for today is to get myself some netherite. I'm going to do that by blowing up the nether, but I think I've had enough of TNT duping for now. I am still going to use TNT, but I'm running a bit low. So I've come across to the desert for some sand so we can get some crafted up. And while I'm over here, I've noticed this is new terrain. The desert part is definitely a bit smaller, but I have found one of these ruined portals, which I don't often see in this world because it was generated in 1.15, and these things didn't start appearing until 1.16. Anyway, after not too much time, I've got myself 2 full shulkers of sand, so let's pick these up. And then obviously the gunpowder is no problem. Okay, so this is how much I've managed to get from those 2 boxes of sand, which should definitely make a dent. So let's get into the nether and see if we can get some ancient debris. I have decided to try and kill 2 birds with 1 stone and start clearing out the area above my wither skeleton farm. So as you can see, I'm right at the nether ceiling here above the nether fortress, and I have removed the beacon that was down there just to be safe. Okay, so let's get on with using a bit of this TNT. Obviously, I want to make as much damage as possible so I can remove a lot of blocks and uncover as much ancient debris as I can. So I'm just digging a tunnel across just under the bedrock, and then we're going to fill this with TNT, and then once we get to the end, light this and make sure we can get away very, very quickly. And because netherrack has such a low blast resistance, it does do a lot of damage, and we get rid of a lot of it all in one go. So I did spend a little bit of time doing this, used quite a lot of TNT, and after all that, I did make quite a dent in the nether ceiling, but unfortunately only ended up with 2 pieces of ancient debris. So I did know it was a lower chance up here, so I can't really argue with that. And it's definitely a good first step in clearing out this area ready for the wither skeleton farm. But I will say doing this has also made me realise how crazy an idea the nether perimeter is. It's going to take an absolutely massive amount of work, and I am going to need to chip away at this here and there. But for now, I've grabbed the last of the TNT I brought, and I'm going to dig down to Y12. Still inside the perimeter, so it will definitely help, but I should also get a lot more ancient debris. So let's do this. Same thing again, just digging a tunnel, laying out the TNT, and letting it go. Okay, so I've used up the last of my TNT, and I've ended up with 24 pieces of ancient debris, which isn't too bad. But remember, I did use way more than half of it at the top, which is where there's a much lower chance of getting it. So if I'd have used all of it at the bottom, I probably would have ended up with more than this, but you know, 24 is actually exactly what I need. So this will do me 6 netherite ingots, and I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pieces of diamond gate that I need to upgrade. So that is absolutely perfect. So we'll get this cooked up and get that on there. Okay, so that is all cooked up now. I have 24 netherite scraps. I'll just grab some gold as well. Same amount of gold, and then we can now craft that into netherite ingots. Very nice. So I do have some smithing stations just out here, so let's use this and get these upgraded. So I'll have an axe, shovel, and sword, and then the armor as well. Helmet, leggings, and boots. Oh, that is so much better. Right, now we've got that done, we can actually get some work done. Okay, last few bits to finish off before we start making this area look pretty and build this huge crater. I started building the middle circle back up to the bedrock level with deep slate. And I know I didn't really need to use deep slate as it will be covered, but I got the idea in my head that it had to be deep slate and I just couldn't let it go. I did run out a few times though, so I decided to dig out the last few blocks under the farms. It wasn't really necessary to remove all of this as it is going to be outside of the spawnable area, but might as well tidy it up and I can use the deep slate to finish off the circle. And then after removing the first one, I leveled out the ground below to make this easier to spawn proof and then built up the area where the water streams are going to go. Then I got on with removing all of the others, and even though compared to the entire perimeter this wasn't a lot of blocks, and I set up a beacon with haste 2 for each one, this took a really long time as most of it was deep slate, and to be fair, it is quite a few blocks, it just doesn't look much compared to the entire area. The last one was a lot bigger and I really didn't feel like digging this one out, so I built a few TNT dupers above it. No fly machines, just TNT dropping straight down. Second set didn't go too well. Tried that again and I got everything else done down to bedrock. Then after that was done, I dug out the remaining blocks manually Also removed the first central part closest to the beacon, and then started on the lower section, but eventually was out of reach of the beacon. So I removed the emerald beacon and added another one down at bedrock, just so I could finish off the last bit of deep slate. And then with all that digging, I had plenty of deep slate, so I finished off the circle and got all the deep slate filled in. And then the farm that is above the lava lake, I removed all of the lava for where the water stream's going with gravel, and I did start doing this between episodes, but I just need to clear a much bigger area, so I've got this finished off now. And then it was on to getting all of this working again. So we've put all the water streams back in, just exactly the same as it was before. We've got a lot of packed ice, the black stone around the edge, and then the light grey glass on top, just to match all of the drop shafts. And the problem with this is, I haven't spawn-proofed the entire area. It's all lit up fairly well, but slimes don't care about light, so I had a lot of slimes spawning, as you can see here. I think I spent more time killing slimes than I did building these water streams. And then once we got to the middle, I removed the central beacon and extended the item elevator all the way down and got everything flowing up there, and it's now all going around the sorting system, which is looking good to me. Okay, so I'm now back in my AFK spot, and as you can see, these items coming in crazy fast. It's absolutely ridiculous. I forgot how good this thing is once we have an actual perimeter. So yeah, everything's working out. We've got all the water streams in, the witches are dropping, the dying, and all the items coming up here. So that is absolutely brilliant. But now, we need to actually start making things look good. But before we get on that, if you're enjoying this video, remember to leave a like. It really helps. Okay, so now we're down at the bottom where all the water streams are. And I do have something to figure out. Because when I originally came up with the idea of doing this perimeter, and I got these water streams in the first time, I always had this open, and that was always going to be the plan. I was going to make these into some kind of pipes and have this like a very techie area, but now we've come up with the idea for this crater. I do actually want to make something else out of these. So they're obviously going to be underground, they're not going to be shown above the crater. What I actually want to do is have like maintenance tunnels below the crater, and then we can walk along these, see the items coming in, and then we can have like access to all of the witch farms themselves. So I'll have some way of getting down here. Could be a minecart, could be a boat path, I don't know, something like that. But then we can go to each of the farms themselves and then have a way of getting up there. So we could have an elevator and then a drop back down, and then maybe a way of getting actually outside as well. That is what I want to do. So what I'm actually going to have to do, rather than start building at the bottom, I'm going to need to figure out a height for these tunnels, and then build a layer there, and then we can start building the crater above that. So if we turn on the structure from Mini HUD again, we can see the area that we need to spawn proof. So if you haven't seen this before, this is a despawn sphere around my AFK point up there. So this is a very handy reference for where I need to spawn proof stuff. So all I really needed to do before was go up to here, but if I'm going a few blocks above this, as you can see, this is quite a shallow cave, so every block I go up, so I'm going to have to go out a bit further as well. But that's alright, because I think having these tunnels is actually going to be a really cool idea. So having this further up as well, it also helps me, because out here, I actually need to start going up, obviously, to the top, and as you can see, this is actually quite close to the edge. So this is 128 block sphere, but this perimeter is 150 blocks from that center as well, so there's not a lot of wiggle room. So we are going to have to come up fairly steep, but if we start a little bit higher, it's not going to be as steep. It's not going to be a massive difference, but every little helps in this situation, I think. And then looking from the top, what we're going to do is come up fairly steep, but then when we get up here, we're actually going to go above the land as well. Because I have been looking at some reference photos of craters in the real world, because that is the kind of thing that I do. And they also have this lip that comes up above the ground and then back down. Obviously, because the ground has been pushed up as the hole has been made by whatever impact that did it. That is always something I've wanted along here as well. Even well before I had the idea of doing a perimeter, I always wanted to have some kind of hills that would block this view from when we're inside the village. So that is what I want to do there. It's a little bit of realism for the crater, but also like a mountain range along here, so we can block this view and keep the medieval feel over here. So this is going to be a circle as well. I know we have a square here, but obviously we don't want a square crater, so it is going to come round, and this land is going to get built up, and then we're going to have like a mountain kind of thing over here. So I do have a lot of ideas for the designs and the spawn proofing inside, but we're nowhere near doing anything like that yet. So I think the first thing I need to do is start roughing out the shape, do a few circles. And I do have a full inventory of dirt here, so I know this is not going to be anywhere near what I need. But I'm going to start marking out a few circles at the bottom, maybe fill in this one. You never know, I might get carried away and do all that. And then we'll have a few more circles coming up. But these aren't going to be exact circles. This does need to be fairly rough to make it look a little bit more realistic. And then we're going to try and get in these peaks at the top as well. I'm just going to do it out of dirt for now, but then we'll be building stone and moss and whatever on top of that. So, enough talk. Let's get some work done. Okay, so 3 hours and 40 minutes later, and this is where we're at. Not even finished yet with this base layer, but you know what, I think this is looking way better than it was before. Still got a lot to do though, and the reason I've stopped there is because I've run out of dirt, would you believe it? And I don't know why, out of these 4 witch huts I could have stood on top of to do this bit, I stood on the one above lava. Anyway, so yeah, we're out of dirt, but I do have a plan. It's alright. As you know, my intention was not to do this out of grass anyway, because of the different shades of green. We've got like the bluish one there, and then this brownish one. This is what you get in swamps. It's not great. I just wanted to see how it looked, to see if I could incorporate it somehow, but I honestly don't think I'm going to. I think this whole thing is going to be moss. These squares and rectangles you see here, these are the slime chunks, so this is just moss carpet. I've just put these down to make sure we don't got any slimes on there, because when I did have them spawning, there was such a nuisance. Just so many of them, because nothing else can spawn around here. So I got that done, and it made things a lot easier. Okay, so looking in here, all these empty shulker boxes, these were all full of dirt. This is what I've emptied out doing these circles, which is absolutely crazy. And I don't have any dirt left at all in the city, so all I've got, I think, is this, yes. So I've got a full shulker box of grass blocks, and I think I've got about another 3 or 4 of those, but I'm going to save the grass, because I might use that for some detailing on the top after I've got everything else done. So we'll leave that as it is, and what we're going to do is build out on moss. I know it was a bit silly using normal dirt, because if I'd have been dead certain on using moss, I could have built out of diorite or anything else that moss spreads onto, and then just bone milled 1 block of moss and covered the whole thing. But that's alright. I wanted to test the grass, so I'm alright with that. But now we need to get these filled in all around the edge. So there's a few ways I could do it. I could either fill it in with something that moss spreads onto, like diorite or granite, any kind of stone. But also, I could do it with deep slate as well. So I've got a ton of this deep slate, which I'm not going to use, because I'm not going to put it back down and fortune it, because I don't really like this one. Prefer the cobbled one. So I could do that, or I could do what I've actually done and build myself a moss farm. Okay, so now we're down below the crater where the tunnels are going to go. But I thought, as I have all this space, it's just going to be wasted, I may as well put a couple of little farms down here, especially for the things that I'm going to need around here. So the first thing, as we know, is moss. So I've built this thing. I have built this thing before, so I won't go over it too much. But this is a design by Razeworks, and I will have a link to that tutorial down in the description. But basically, this gets us everything that we can get from moss. So as you can see, we have the moss blocks and the carpets, and then the azaleas, and then we also get seeds in here as well. So this... everything will come into this chest, and then it will split between a composter that sends everything to the dispenser that makes all this happen, and then the rest of it usually goes into a composter and into here to create all this bone meal. But I've bypassed that because this chest, once this is full, fills up in about an hour. So I've been AFKing quite a bit, and yet I've probably lost loads because of how quickly it fills up. So I've expanded this and added another 2 chests, but I have been coming across here quite a lot and emptying them out, and we now have almost 8 full double chests of moss blocks. This is absolute madness. And also a chest and a half of carpets as well. So that is great. Definitely going to use those for the rest of the slime chunks. And I'm going to use the rest of these to fill in these circles around the edge. Then, as we've just seen, we have a ton of bone meal as well. So once we get some moss up there, we can bone meal that and spread it all onto this dirt up here. It's going to look really good. I can't wait to get all that done. And the other thing I've been doing just for a little bit of a change is coming over here and mining out a little bit of this deep slate. So I've been taking my fortune pick, which is that one there, and just swinging away at this just to stock up on a bit of cobbled deep slate. And I just wanted to level it out a bit just so it'd be easier to spawn proof this down here. Maybe put some water on it or slab it. Even with haste 2, this takes such a long time. So I did make a discovery. I didn't realise that you could spread moss onto deep slate, which I probably should have known, but I didn't. So as you can see over here, this bit was quite high. So I have been doing that over here. I've been putting a bit of moss down, taking some bone meal, spreading it onto the deep slate, and then just taking my hoe and digging this up. And this is so much quicker, especially when you're in the areas that have the beacon. This just comes up so quick. And then also with the azalea, when they do spawn like that, I've been stocking up on the leaves as well, because this is one of the things I want to use for spawn proofing up there. I don't just want it all to be the moss carpet. I do want to vary that up a bit, have a bit of an interesting landscape. So we're going to have the moss carpet and the azalea leaves, and then we're also going to have some stone slabs and maybe some like rocky areas just to break up a bit, so it's not just one big green circle. So yeah, I had a few things to do, but now I think we need to get on with doing a little bit more building. And I did forget to mention as well why I've left this big circle in the middle. The idea here is that this is all actually going to be open on the inside, and then we're going to have a tower going up there, probably made out of blackstone to match everything we've got going on up there. But I also want to have some like kind of stone structure at the bottom as well. So it's like a big rock in the middle of this crater. Maybe actually, I've just thought that could be like the asteroid or rock that created the impact. Yeah, I like that. And then we could make it out of deep slate, maybe put some amethyst in it, make it look really like alien. Yeah, that's a good idea, that. And that could be the reason why the area is corrupted and it has like witches spawning. Yeah, I like it. But anyway, so we'll have this like big asteroid at the bottom, and then on top of that, we're going to have like a black stone tower, as we've just said, going up to the top, and that temporary platform definitely needs to go soon, because it's been there way too long. But anyway, we'll have that big tower, and then we'll have the big central storage area at the top, and it won't all be visible like it is now, so we have the water streams on the outside, but I'm going to build a structure all the way around that, so it all looks good. But that will be this time. What I want to get done today is the landscape. So this is looking way better with this down here, so we don't see the big ugly floor, but we definitely need to do something about this going up into the corners and onto the sides as well. So before we get these circles filled in, I want to roughly mark out the basic shape of the side of this crater. So I need to grab some stone, because I'm not going to use dirt for this, am I? Because yeah, it's all gone. So let's grab some stone and we can give this a try. Right, I've got myself a box of stone, and I have another about 20 boxes up there. So yeah, that might do something, but you know, it's probably not going to be enough. So what I want to do from here, because if we just look at these ones here, we are still quite below it. So I don't want to go too vertical from this point. So I think what I'm going to do is have another circle, but not go out as far. Most of these have a gap of about 15 between them, and then this last one is 9. So if we're roughly half that again, go another 5 out. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then from here, we can maybe start going up a little bit steeper. So we can rough this up a bit later on, but let's just try and figure this out. So where are we? Yeah, so if we go up fairly shallow at the start, so just maybe 1 or 2 blocks, just a little something like that. I just don't want to get too close to the circle, because once I'm inside the circle, that means it needs to be spawn-proofed, or things will be able to spawn on it when I'm at my AFK point. If I'm outside the circle, then I don't need to worry. Okay, so that, to me, looks like we're getting somewhere. It goes up fairly steep, and it does get steeper as it goes up, and then levels off the top into this peak, just going into the outside. And if it wasn't clear what I was saying earlier, when we're in the village, the idea is that this is going to be going across up and down a little bit, but mainly at this height, and it'll block off everything we've got behind there. So that platform won't be there, and the top height of this will really be about there. Maybe a few more blocks of decoration, but it's definitely going to be below what we can see over here. So even when we're in those buildings, the idea is that this is going to block everything, and it's just going to look like a natural mountain range. And there may be a way through, or definitely over the top anyway, if not. And then once we get over this side, we're going to be able to see right down into the crater, and it's going to look absolutely crazy. So yeah, that's the idea. I need to get this done on every side, so I'll probably put one of these like markers on each side so we can see what we're working with. Get all this moss in, and I can maybe do a little bit more of the sides. I don't know how much I'm going to get done of this today, because there's a lot. I've got to go all the way around something like this and then decorate it, and yeah, it's a lot. So I think I've got a few more blocks to place, haven't I? Let's get it done. Okay, so over 5 hours later, and we're getting there. And I can't even say it's done, because as you can see, we've still got grass around the edge. There's still a few slime chunks that need covering, but this is absolutely crazy. Adding that on to the 3 hours and 40 minutes from earlier, just doing the dirt in the middle, and then it took 2 hours just to bone meal the middle to turn it all into moss, and then another, whatever, 3¼ hours to fill in all the moss blocks around the edge as well. And a few little bits of stone. Yeah, it's madness. So that's 9 hours to do a big green circle. Now, I don't know about you, but I think that's a little bit mad. So yeah, good progress, but still not done. And as you can see, there's still a lot of the grass from the bone meal still there. I did leave that just to see how it looks, but I think I'm probably going to get rid of a lot of it because it does take on the colour of what the grass block would have been below it. So we've got like the greeny blue ones there, and then like the brownish ones over here as well. So it doesn't look great, but it's alright for now. And the thing is with that as well, it really makes these areas stand out. So we've got the double slime chunk there that's covered in the moss carpet, and that just makes it look really obvious. So I am going to break that up a bit, maybe put some leaves down there, some stone slabs, just to break it up a little bit so it's not just one big rectangle like that. But I'll get all that done another time because I really want to get the main decoration of this area done first. And that is going to be, obviously, the big stone walls around the edge. And then the idea we had earlier of having a big asteroid around here. And I think I'm going to have like veins or arms coming out from here. And then have some other like structure below each witch hut. And then a tower from there. And then the tower in the middle that comes up and covers all of this. And then get rid of that as well. So got an absolute ton of work to do, but I'm very happy with the progress. And also, I just need to show you this as well, because craziness, gunpowder is completely full. So I'm going to need to have some more storage for this, because I've got 27 full shulker boxes of gunpowder, and I just don't have anything else to do with it. Now, luckily, the other things don't fill up as quickly, because I do tend to empty these chests out quite a lot, because I can craft up a lot of this into other things. So the redstone can go into redstone blocks, and the glowstone into glowstone blocks. And then I'm doing a similar thing with the sticks as well. I'm taking some of the redstone and crafting that into torches, so I can have a stockpile of repeaters, and I'll probably do another one for comparators as well. The sugar and the spiderite, they don't go into shulker boxes. These go into an overflow that I've got out here, and I do have to empty this out quite a lot, so I'm going to have to do something better than this, because it's just madness how quickly this fills up. So the gunpowder is filling up a lot more, because I just don't have anything to do with it. I can craft it into rockets, but the problem there is that actually increases the amount of space I need to use, because one gunpowder and one sugarcane crafts 3 rockets. So yeah, that's not really very helpful. I could craft it up into TNT, that uses quite a lot, but I don't have a lot of sand. So anyway, I think I am going to have a sugarcane farm down below near where the moss farm is, and have another storage area going out that way. And I also want to have a brewing area as well, so that'll help with a little bit more storage for the gunpowder. But, you know, these farms are mad. I love it. But we have reached that time again, and I'm going to have to leave it there because, you know, this grass circle has taken 9 hours, so I dread to think how long the wall's going to take, and then all the decoration as well. Definitely got a couple more episodes work here at least to get this done, but I'm sticking with it. Next few episodes, we're going to be sticking around here and getting this done. But in the meantime, if you have enjoyed this episode, please do leave a like, and I'll see you again next time. Thanks for watching, everyone. Bye bye.